Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Monday, the 1st of December. Wow, first of the month. Damn, we're already on December. It's crazy. So, yeah, I believe we got like monthly closes, we got weekly closes, we've got a lot of stuff to go into. So, starting off with the economic calendar, I just quickly export, balance of trade. Nothing really too important this week in terms of data. Potentially Friday, we're going to have some post-market data dropping in. But apart from that, it's nothing too crazy. Max Payne on liquidations. In the short term, we're probably a bit closer to the long Max Payne. We're actually quite close to the long Max Payne right now, or we potentially just did hit the long Max Payne actually on the 48 hour. The 3-day sitting at 85.4 for the long Max Payne. So we were about $200 away on that wick down from that previous 4-hour candle. And the short Max Payne sitting up at 92.3, so just above the highs that we made. Well, basically at the highs that we made. 1 week, similar picture, 85.4, 85.5, 92.4 as well. And then 2 week, potentially just a little bit extrapolated, yeah. So a lot of the long Max Payne is sitting literally just where we are right now, or just literally where we did that previous 4-hour candle. In terms of liquidations, you know what? I don't even like CoinEgg too much, to be honest. Just trying to set up one training. I believe that Egil has a video of the setup, or I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some good sessions running this week, so we can all get familiarized with Bottom Master, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, quite a lot of the mentors as well will probably work it into their streams as well, specifically like Zeus and Viking. So we're chilling. We got this week to go. Anyway, liquidations pretty much stuff to both sides. There's not really too much to say on that. In terms of the volume area, we are just underneath the big one that we do want to hold, sitting about 87k on the dot. We really need to regain something. It's looking actually quite bad right now, dare I say. And we've got the one slightly higher at 90.5 as well, which would be the big giga, like we're going a lot higher again. But as of right now, breaking levels going lower. I mean, even on the 4-hour, you can see this previous 4-hour candle, very nasty close on it, closing underneath all this structure. Yeah, not great at all. Other than that, hold on, let's just go to, oh yeah, we're on Binance and Bybit, that's it. So yep, last but not least, which I always start with actually, is long to short ratio sitting at, coming back up towards 70%. This is not good. We wanted to see the trend continue to be underneath 60% long. We've actually seen an explosion in longs in this area, as we've lost the 4-hour level as well. So this is not good. This is not what we want to see at all. So looking a bit bearish today, actually. Chartrunientes, bang. So like we were saying, had some nice upside structure on the 4-hour, all the way across here. Literally one candle, bang, broken. 4-hour low broken, and now it just looks like we're kind of bearishly backtesting it at this moment in time. Would like to see a gain of this previous weekly open on this next 4-hour. If it doesn't, it just looks like a bearish retest. High frequency was on. I would say wait for this 4-hour close for a little bit more clarity. Obviously, we've got the American Open as well. It's the start of the month. There's going to be a lot of settling happening. But in general, I feel like potentially like the daily week open December, this whole structure is potentially now to short if we do get back up in it, just as a hedge. And yeah, let's just wait for a little bit more clarity and a little bit of direction before we start to make any crazy moves. I would like to see this daily candle end of day close above 87k, that would be perfect. If we can do that, then it looks a bit better. Right now, I don't think it looks that good though. Definitely looking a little bit more downish than upish. But you know, we've got a lot of support along 84k. We do have some high liquidations as well. So if we just take this off and go back to liquidations, yeah, we've got some thick pockets sitting at about 83.9, 84k. So we've just taken that high leverage stuff. It's potentially that we could come down a little bit higher into this like long liquidity, and then we'll see what happens Tuesday into Wednesday this week. But let's actually have a look at the weekly close and stuff. So yeah, nothing too crazy. We are getting confluence coming in on the weekly, so this is good. Potentially, if we get a decent weekly candle, this candle that closes above the lows, then the next candle we're actually going to get a cross on the wave master. So still an area for a potential bottom, this area, but the 4 hour is starting to look a little bit rough. Anyway, that's enough for the old bitty. ETH Bitcoin, literally no change, still going sideways along support. Bullish divergence on the daily, nothing really else to say here. Kind of looks good for a pop quite soon. What you want to see is, yeah, a close above, which is what we've got, and then a hold of this low where we are. So anywhere from like 325 to the low, this is what you want to see held now. Potentially might even like start to turn our way out of this. If we're lucky. ETH. So again, lost some levels locally to go lower. We seem to be doing quite similar pattern to what we were doing every time we've pretty much dumped, even like this small gain, and then you start like losing levels locally and then bang off a cliff. Yeah, again, we do have some high leverage liquidations down here along support, which is going to be interesting, potentially to maybe scoop up like a bit of a long in this area, and then again this area potentially short. So the way I'm trying to play this is quite cautious. I want to like see what kind of direction it is. Right now you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. I'd rather be waiting for a weekly open retest to potentially short, or the lows from like Bitcoin and ETH to potentially long. Like if we can take like 2.7, this sort of like liquidations, and then come out. But I'd say I'm a little bit more downish than upish right now. We'll have to see how these daily candles go. But ETH on the weekly as well, kind of quite similar story to Bitcoin. However, this could go just a tiny bit lower down. Looks like we're potentially getting across here already, a little bit early. But with weekly charts, even if this crosses, potentially we could still go down and test like 2.5. It's definitely still on the cards on the ETH weekly. But again, we're getting quite close to some sort of potential bottom. I would not be surprised if this did one more into like 2.5, and then we bullishly diverged massively again, and then that was some sort of local bottom. But anyway, today is definitely a day to be patient, and we'll have a look at how America reacts. A little bit of settling for the holidays, and yeah. So my Solana trade took a nice amount of profit here. Whoops. Yeah, I've been stopped out now. So I think I entered in around here, stopped on this one candle, everything licked. It's on the lows right now. It's on the lows right now, which is an interesting one, because if you're looking at sort of like low structures, this is probably what you're looking at. And then if I take this off, We've probably got a few liquidations in here. Yeah, we've just taken that stuff there very, very locally. So, interesting one. I would say that definitely, again, looking a bit more bearish than bullish. Could get a little bit of a bounce here, but I'd be looking to short this area now. Yeah. And then if we come back and, okay, come into that stuff, then it's going to be go time. But until we do that, yeah. So, what else were we looking at last week? We actually had some good trades last week. Ooh, Asta sitting below $1. Potentially quite interesting. So we're looking at hype. Yeah, that'll be stopped. Hype will be stopped out now. I actually really thought this was going to go towards Q3, but guess not. That's why you have the backup plan. So yeah, hype stopped. Looking a bit. It's looking okay. I would like to wait for a little bit more clarity in the market, or at least we get like a 4-hour like this on hype. Bang. And then we can start talking about like step laddering up. Right now, I'm not really too interested on it from either side. Someone's trying to call me. Let's put that to voicemail. What else were we looking at? We were looking at near, right? Where's near? Yeah, so this has definitely been stopped over the weekend. Again, was a worthy buy along support here. Was accumulating my position over sort of like the last week, just underneath, sort of like around 1.8, but definitely been stopped on this now, and I don't see anything really too good on this chart as well. That was the hold level really. Probably next level on near to look out for is, again, could see a bit of a free fall here actually. Maybe 1.4 and then 1.1. But yeah, I'm not in that position anymore, and we'll have to potentially look for a new one. What else? I was in one other thing. I was in hype, sol, and near. So I'm all out of those positions now. Solana was a good trade. I got to take a nice amount of profit, but the other two I'd potentially say were losses. But they were doing well last week, so. Apart from that, you know, damn, it's looking really. That's looking rough. AVAX back at its lows, really testing its low structure right now after dumping off a cliff massively. Yeah, didn't really do the loss until this candle here, just before the daily weekly open, December. Potentially looking at a little bit of a short-term bounce from this low here, around 12.9. But I mean, even so, it's just, you're looking to potentially bearish retest this area and go lower actually. In the meantime, I'd say there's a potential trade here actually. Just on a Monday, I'd watch out for this like AVAX, this low, to potentially hold and get like a little bit of a bounce up towards the daily weekly open. Other than that though, I'm not really wholly interested in the market today, just because we've broken levels, we've gone lower. We've got a lot of levels to test higher, which we haven't, which I would be willing to short. But yeah, I would just like to see the market settle a little bit today into the American Open and the daily close as well. But this is definitely something to keep an eye on, because we are on that low, literally bang on, and we haven't closed below it yet. So let's see. High frequency coming potentially off after this 4-hour candle. Big confluence in the oversold as well. So potential area for a little bit of a bounce on AVAX. Keep an eye on it today. What else have we got? Arve, yeah, again, breaking levels going lower. You're just looking at now this being resistance. Or actually, just anything here. All of this now, heavy resistance for us. Would be looking to potentially short that if we do get above a bounce up. Now, a gain of the daily weekly open by end of day definitely does change things for the better. Because it kind of invalidates this whole daily candle bit. But until then, it's not looking great. It's actually not looking great, you know. We need this to just be like the early week, early month sort of like sell off, and then for it to like reverse a little bit. But on the upside, potentially there is a lot of different stubers that we could play if we do get into the pocket. So some of these coins like Arve AVAX have set new 4-hour highs, they've set new daily highs, they've set new 12-hour highs above this stuff. So there is a fib pool that you can do, and that kind of just goes like feeds into the idea that potentially logging the like low from last weekend structure might be a good shout, and then also shorting the daily weekly open. I think that's the two options for me right now with what I'm seeing on the charts. And that's kind of like a general rule of thumb for anything. So like even if I go on Injective, this one didn't set a new 4-hour high, so I wouldn't really be looking at this like, oh, it's going to hold it low. It's low. And also, we've actually broken below it already. So I wouldn't be looking at Injective to potentially like long. I'd say Arve and AVAX potentially. Like Arve looks quite decent. Other than that, you know, maybe Hype if it can reclaim its daily weekly open. And yeah, I would say the rest of them just look like bearish retests. Excuse me. But yeah, so what are you guys looking at? Are you optimistic about this month? Are you, you know, are you buying any alts? Are you looking at any alt trades? I was in some decent positions last week. Fortunately, that is no longer the case. Let's get Hype. Is TTP on Nance? And have a look at it like this. Liquidations. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Like, if we go a little bit further down into this 4-hour low, like this is the low. We've also got a bit of liquidations there. You're potentially looking at a bounce up into this high leverage stuff. And then we'll see. We'll probably get rejected, and then maybe we'll make a new low. Or we'll get rejected and we'll do a higher low, and then we'll start to like round our way out. But I think on the balance of probabilities, you're probably looking at this bouncing up and then making a new low. But we'll see. I would say that this Hype around 30, just underneath 30, and then also what we're looking at, AVAX or Arve, definitely things that I'm going to keep an eye on today. In out scalping at the moment, doing really well. My opening was being fed. Nice. You're on the 5-minute, bro. Oh, shit. Just knocked so much stuff off my table. You're on the 5-minute, bro. What are you scalping? What time frame are you scalping? Again, like, Doge not looking great. Looks like it wants to make a new low. What's XRP? What's actually no, I'm not really that interested in XRP. BNB again. Looks like it wants to make a new low. On support though, but yeah, it looks like it wants to make a new low. Oh yeah, Turbo was pumping quite heavily last week, so let's have a little, just a little peep at this. Again, like something like Turbo, if you get a little bit of a bounce, you're potentially short that all the way back down here to the base, where this looks like it's definitely heading. Again, another potential trade there if it does come, because this is obviously going to be a heavy resistance for now. What's Litecoin doing? Making a new low. Rough. Very, very rough. Yeah, see, look on this. This actually didn't daily close above June or Q3. So when it looked like we were actually gaining a level, all we're doing is bearishly retesting. Rough. Anyway, Litecoin potentially coming into some support quite soon. Got some overlapping support there. Potentially like 75 as well. Yup, 15 as well. Nice, bro. Yeah, I might do some scalping this week as well because there's a nice amount of volatility and like, yeah, you can potentially get like a runner that gets you into a nicer position. But I'm